No fewer than 400 ghost workers have been identified as receiving salaries in the Anambra State Local Government Civil Service Commission. And it was gathered that out of the number, 59 are deceased, 5 are living abroad, and 40 are pensioners still drawing salaries. Additionally, several individuals are involved in certificate fraud, with investigations completed on 6 cases so far. And this was disclosed on Friday in Oka by the chairman of the commission, Vin Ezaka, who is also a legal practitioner. And he revealed that the ghost workers were discovered across the 21 local government areas in the state. And the investigation aimed to sanitize the local government system. It seems like a lot of sanitation is going on right now concerning government agencies and the operations of these agencies, considering the previous story we took and this particular story now where government uncovers 400 ghost workers. The story or the idea or the fact about having ghost workers is not news. A lot of people know what is going on in the civil service. There have been allegations here and there that there are some people who are probably not even in the country, as this story has stated, who are collecting salary.
Yes. I want to start by narrating our experience. I worked with Governor Henry Serake Dixon in Bayelsa State for 8 years. Okay. And way back in 1996 when Bayelsa State, I think it's your state too.
Yes, it is.
When Bayelsa State was created, till Dixon assumed office, the ghost worker syndrome did not just exist, it loomed very large. Yes. Such that, you know, most people who work in the treasury, accountants, some people who even read history will drop their job, administrative job, go behind and read accounting. Well, accountants virtually owned 70% of all the houses in Bayelsa State, in Yenagoa. So when Dixon came in, in fact, from the time Bayelsa State was created till Dixon came in, there was nothing like a verification exercise.
Why was it, okay, was that why it was so rampant and you could actually thrive that much?
Yes. So he took the bulls by the horn. He was the only person, because if you have to do verification and purify or sanitize the system, you must have a lion's heart, such that even if your brother is involved, remove him. When he carried out the it was a massive fraud we saw. Payroll fraud. Some people were receiving salaries, double salaries. Some were old enough to retire 10 years ago. When we calculated the year they left secondary school and the year they graduated, some of them left secondary school at the age of 7, which is impossible.
Aside,
you and I know.
The one happening in Bayelsa State. In general,
no, I'm coming to.
What is going on with the civil service?
The civil service.
Why do you have corruption so, eating so deep into the system?
So the point I want to make is, see, from what I saw, Dixon, Governor Serake Dixon at that time, sanitized the system, thereby creating openings, creating positions, and they employed so many people. You see, some of these ghost workers, those who receive double salaries and so on, they are blocking the opportunities of other people. In Nigeria, one problem we have is this autonomy of local government. As for the local government system, it is near impossible to sanitize it, because every caretaker committee chairman that comes in employs 1 or 2 persons. Every local government chairman that comes, because more or less, why does it thrive? The state governors, now the state governors control the resources going to the local governments. So more or less, it is the state government that will determine the salaries they will pay. So the state governors, those working at the state, may not even be aware that there are ghost workers. Now, if autonomy is granted and the chairmen are aware of their workforce, they will be able to stop it. Because if 2 billion naira comes into a local government and they spend 1.8 billion to pay, what is left? What is left? So they will be in a position to now be watchmen of the local government system. One of the problems we have nationwide concerning this payroll fraud, ghost workers, and so on, is lack of database. We don't track information. Some people, I will not mention it, there are so many people I know who have been in the civil service right from when I was in secondary school.
Well, we know that when we talk about data, are you going to call the civil service in that category?
The civil service is worse than you think.
There's no data there.
There are.
With all of the registrations and going into this office and that office to sign this and that.
Now, why? Let me ask you, why is it that the Ministry of Internal Affairs, the Ministry of the Interior, is saying they are coming with a triple identification something? When you know we have a voters card, we have NIN.
They're unifying it now.
We have NIN.
I think they heard the day you complained about it, and
okay,
they decided to unify.
Okay,
it.
If they are unifying it, let it be at the expense of government. Because people have no money to pay for double that. I have my international passport. I have my NIN. I have my voters card.
We paid in one way or the other to get all of these things.
We paid, not just paying. We spent resources. Time is an important resource. Sure. So in Nigeria, for us to cleanse the civil service, it may be worse at the federal level. You know why? Most people do not pay attention to what happens the civil service at the federal level. So it may this ghost worker syndrome.
Does that happen just at the federal level?
No, it happens everywhere. It may be worse there because not many people give attention to it. But as at now, the local government system is so rotten that so many governors do not even know how many local government workers they are paying.
These ministries were created for a reason.
Yes. And
these people were employed also for a reason, to carry out tasks. That's why they are there.
The problem
so why does it seem like there's sometimes there talks about them being very idle and doing nothing, and that's probably why we're having the problem is like
the problem is prebendalism. In America, this thing used to happen. In America, way back in 1855, they were operating the spoil system. When I become the president, I will remove all the key public officers in that government and bring my people. So more or less, as long as you endure in office, those who are in power are those who are loyal to you. Meritocracy was undermined. Not only that, recruitment processes were circumvented, such that some mediocrity now started working with two legs. You know, mediocres were brought to remove professionals and technocrats. That is the situation we have today. Today, the federal government is partly responsible for what is happening today in the civil service. One, we have the quota system. Okay, if we are employing, let's say 40 persons. Okay, one should come from each of the states. One from Bayelsa, one from Rivers, one from Kano, one from one, and so on. So now the person in power will nominate who becomes that employee. So by the end of the day, we don't have accurate data. Our population, let me tell you something about our population. In 1962, when Tafawa Balewa was Prime Minister, Mr. Warren, who was the head of the Population Bureau at that time was under the office of the Prime Minister. He conducted a census, and the census figures showed clearly that the South, in line with established demographic trends, the South had more population than the North. Why is it so? Because it is established in so many studies that in a forest region, the population is likely to be denser than an arid region like the Sahel, where there is just a vast land and people just sand and heat and so on. Now, that result, the unannounced result of the population census, did not go down well with Tafawa Balewa. So what did he do? He gave 24 hours to the head of the Census Bureau, who was a white man, a Briton, and asked him to leave the country. And they cancelled the results. And they scheduled another census for November 1963. And that is, Nigeria today, the population we have today is an extrapolation of that population. Since then, we have not conducted any accurate and credible census. We cannot extrapolate. What I mean by extrapolation is, if a particular community is 10,000, and the population grows at 2.5%, you now work out the mathematics. In 10 years' time, what will be the population of, they don't take into account the birth rate, they don't take into account the death rate, they don't take into account immigration and migration. So that is why our demography is today affected.
Talking about data with the civil service.
Yes.
When you say there is no data.
No, I did not say that there are no accurate and credible data.
Okay, so that means you don't even trust the data system of the civil service.
How will you trust a system that is fraught with fraudulent, non-existent, does go receive salary?
He said non-existent.
Some don't exist. In Bayelsa State, under Dixon, we discovered that so many workers they had other jobs, and we did not miss words. I love that governor. May God bless him. It was so fantastic. We reduced the workforce and employed so many young graduates. And that is what, that example, they should go and study what Dixon did in Bayelsa. And that is what so many state governors should copy.
Back to the civil service.
Yes.
And some of the issues that are there. We've also heard so many cases and seen allegations here and there being thrown, especially by junior staff in the civil service complaining. It almost seems like they don't have a voice or where they can lay their complaints when they feel like they are not being heard, maybe in the office space or by their superiors around there. How do you think that this problem can be solved? That
is not totally true.
Okay. Because
we have the public service rules.
All right.
These rules guide employment of civil servants, the conduct of civil servants, promotion issues.
How effective has it been?
Promotion issues and discipline. Of course, you know that anything with Nigeria, we cannot guarantee.
You started your statement with that is not entirely true. And now you're saying you know Nigeria, we cannot guarantee.
No, when I say it is not entirely true, because there are rules and regulations.
Of course.
The only thing is enforcing these rules and regulations may not be very effective. But in some cases, when people commit crimes, in the establishment where I worked as a general manager, some issues I could have addressed immediately. We are referred to the civil service. And some criminals walked away free. So enforcement is the problem. All these laws exist at both the federal level, state level, and the local government levels. But enforcing these laws will now interrogate, the competence and the credibility of those who are in charge of punishing people, those who are in charge of promotion, and so on and so forth. Some people who, deserve to be promoted, we are denied promotion in some cases.
A lot of people
we are denied promotion. In most cases, sexual harassment is also a situation. And not too long ago, one of the, was an ambassador also in the Ministry of Finance, it was a popular, I think you should know something about it. So such matters, there should be an ombudsman, the Public Complaints Commission, where people should be able to write and submit their petitions. So anybody who is accused of any disease will be tried and dealt with.
It is available.
In fact, in the university system, this issue of sexual harassment is so common.
True.
Yes. So lecturers should be monitored and dealt with if possible. Yes. How can you harass my daughter, or how can you harass my wife because she's a student?
Some people have complained, both the two scenarios you painted now, the civil service, the universities, they've complained that when they report, in fact, I was speaking to someone recently and she was telling me about this. This was actually happening to her. Considering she herself and a lecturer or something like that. And I was trying to advise her on what to do. And she was so scared. She said, this man is one of the top officials in the school. In fact, he's almost like the second in command here. So like how would she report such an individual? Who would she even report him to? And if she makes the report, will adequate steps be actually taken to solve that particular problem? So that is the issue we have when we talk about enforcement.
Yes, that is why even in the police, for instance, if you see somebody shoot another person and the person is walking free and there's a police station there, the policeman might have heard the noise of the gun, but they will not act. When you go there to report, they will say, make your statement. How did you know? Yourself, who is an ordinary man who reported an issue, becomes a suspect. So in the university, in every establishment, when you are dealing with these people, today we have a means of getting evidence. You have your cell phone. I am not saying people should record. Unauthorized recording is also, as a journalist, I'm a journalist. As a journalist, I know it is wrong. But when it is necessary, you inform a third party. Inform a third party to ensure such records are taken, because you need evidence to be able to prove your case. But again, let me advise that anybody who is a victim should speak up, because if you fail to speak up, you are, endangering other people who are coming behind you.
Exactly.
You are endangering them. Why we are talking, why I like coming here to talk, why I go to the radio station to talk, why I've been a talkative, some can call me a talkative, is because with a clear conscience, tomorrow, when the history of Nigeria will be told, they will say, but this man never supported bad governance. This man never supported fraud. Then history, if nobody vindicates me, history will vindicate me.
So let's talk about the sanitization of the civil service. Now, you've mentioned having adequate data available so that we can monitor properly.
Yes.
What else do you think can be done in sanitizing?
Yes, mining data or getting accurate data is a product of, procuring sophisticated ICT equipment. You must have gadgets to store information. Today, if you go to Oxford University, let's assume you graduated from Oxford University or Cambridge in 1901. Just go there and mention your name and your number. Every data about you comes out. But just go to the University of Benin or any other nearby university. There are some universities that will have it.
They still have, of course,
they will have it. But in most cases, when there is anything like fire incidents and so on, they don't have backups. Again, power supply has been, because of lack of power supply, because some of this equipment need air conditioners. They need to stay in air-conditioned offices to be able to sustain them. So we have a lot of problems in terms of, maintaining a data bank as a nation, as a state, as a local government. In some cases, even in some homes, they find it difficult to maintain. In some cases, when you say, when was that your son born, you begin to think, I thought it was 1995 or 90. So data, this is where the advanced countries have an edge over us. They have data. They know how to plan. One of the problems in America today is because people are migrating into America. And it is very difficult to keep a database of those who are entering America. And that may undo the Biden administration. Yes, because those who are migrating to America, some of them are drug addicts, some of them are insane people, some of them are criminals in their countries. So having a database is like, as a housewife, if you know that we are 6 in number, you know how many cups of rice to cook to be able to satisfy. Lack of data will make you to misplan. No coordination, and automatically, poor preparation will make the system to fail.
There's so much that should be looked into. In fact,
yes,
when we talk about the civil service system, we can talk about that for 2 hours, and it will not be enough.